All the people who are actually attending this, who all have actually shopped on any online medium? Very few. I think nowadays technology actually has enabled how we actually carry our small device, a mobile phone all across. So I think I'll start throwing the question to first to IRCTC. I think they have been the pioneers in e-commerce. I think all the e-commerce companies actually came after that. I think they began their operations in 2002 to be precise. So I think over to Sir to kind of talk about how they actually started their operations in India, and I think a 12 to 13 year journey on e-commerce, and whereby we see all the eBays and Amazons are actually following the IRCTC model. Over to you, Sir.
Good afternoon. IRCTC was meant basically for catering and tourism, but it's okay. In the year 2001, railway planned for ticketing being online, and it was started in year 2002, when initially I-tickets were booked on IRCTC website and they were being delivered through post at the home address of the public. That we started in year 2002, and initially it was on the first day we booked 29 tickets. Then later on, with the progress of the time, it was thought of that we should do away with the physical tickets and e-tickets should be started. And that was started in the year 2005, when I-tickets were asked to leave the ground for the e-tickets. Initially, people used to print ERS from their printers. Later on, it was thought of that why to waste paper on printing the tickets also. Why don't we travel with SMS only? And somewhere around 2009-2010, the SMS was started sending for the tickets. With the 29 tickets on the first day, we have moved to, on an average, last year we booked around 5 lakh tickets per day on an average. This year we are booking around 5.5 lakh tickets per day. And this year on the 1st of April, when the ARP was increased from 60 days to 120 days by the railways, and there was a heavy rush on the website on 1st of April, so we booked 13.45 lakh tickets on a single day. We have been integrating various payment systems available in the market so that more and more public can make use of the website. On date, we have more than 50 payment systems integrated on our website, which is very rare on other websites. We have more than 29 banks offering net banking services. We have more than 5 payment gateways offering debit card, credit cards. We also have, some banks have issued PIN type of debit cards. They are also being integrated on the website separately. And when the cash cards came into the market, we use the cash cards also. ITZ cash card, iCash card. We launched our e-wallet also to facilitate public. Then we have also started integrating mobile wallets, which have surfaced in the market only 1 year back. And we are also planning to integrate coming a very new technology of scan and pay, which will be very fast as far as payments are concerned. So we have been basically integrating whatever state-of-art technology was available in the market to ease the user interface, and that's why today we are able to book more than 60% of the Indian Railway tickets on our website. Due to some concession tickets, we are now moving at a slow pace, but slowly I think in the next 3-4 years we may reach the figure of 80% in 2027.
Thank you, sir. Sir, on RailTel, maybe I would like to explore what is the new innovation or projects that you're planning for RailTel?
I think one speaker in the morning has very well quoted that the data is the biggest treasure which Indian Railways is actually having, and data is such a big treasure that can be converted into real money with the use of technology. And RailTel is a natural enabler for converting this data into money, as in the morning Honorable Minister and CMD RailTel has also told about two projects which RailTel is vigorously following, implementing. One is the Wi-Fi at the railway stations, and the other is the RDN, that is Railway Display Network, wherein Indian Railways is basically looking to capture the data, the details of the passengers traveling, what kind of sites they are searching when they are on the railway station, what kind of choices they have. So that kind of the data we are sitting on, and based on that data, RailTel will help Indian Railways to sell its advertisement capacity to its clients. So then the advertising will not be static; it will be dynamic kind of advertisement appearing on individual's device. At maybe at the same station, someone is having different advertising, and the other person may be having, depending upon his choice, his intentions, his nature. So that's the kind of treasure RailTel will enable Indian Railways to, we hope to capture it. So these are the two things. In addition to this, there is one more venture where RailTel is maybe though not directly helping Indian Railways, but is helping society, that is Railwire. Railwire is a broadband initiative of RailTel, wherein this RailTel, we are taking help of MSOs and local cable operators, and in fact, this is helping us to reach the remotest corner of the country with the help of a local cable operator to browse, to provide the internet connectivity to the villages, to the rural areas, which are in and around the railway stations or railway tracks. So Railwire is the third initiative which RailTel has taken up, and we have right now around 80,000 customers all over the country, but we are slowly and silently moving in this direction also.
Thank you, sir. I think the question actually was raised about privacy. So that's another question that you've raised, that privacy of data, because end of the day, the entire data is stored on a platform. We have data centers which are processing that data. So how crucial, maybe I'll move it on to Microsoft here, sir, that how do you see the data privacy being taken up? I think the IT Minister has talked about free Wi-Fi at a lot of places. And with rail networks getting connected with free Wi-Fi in the future, how do you see data privacy of an individual would be maintained?
So when it comes to data privacy, I think two things are very important. I think it's working. One is how are we encrypting or protecting that data at rest, and second, how are we protecting that data when it is during transit. And all these data centers which we talk about, they provide both these functionalities. The data, when it is stored in those data centers, are encrypted. So it's absolutely impossible for anyone to take anything out of that. And when the data transmits between a server or a mobile device, that channel is also encrypted. So while there is lots of talk about privacy and all, but the data itself is encrypted. So unless someone really thinks of or tries to break into that encryption, it is actually impossible for anyone to get into that data. So the concerns are valid, but technologies exist by which we protect that data.
Great, thank you. I'll move on to Chris, which is another Center for Railway Information Systems. You guys are very much well integrated in innovation and technology. So, sir, what are 2016 plans for you in India?
Well, we have heard our friends from IRCTC and Railtel, and Chris collaborates with both of them. In fact, we have an MOU with Railtel, and we are very tightly integrated with IRCTC. Now, basically, we are back-ending the entire IT systems for Indian Railways. We are also doing some front-end part. For example, the counters, the tickets that you buy from the counters, those are directly managed by Chris. But increasingly, we are offering services to our passengers and other customers via what is more convenient, which is the mobile side of it. So we offer a lot of access through mobile devices. Whereas the most visible customers are our passengers, and our thrust is to provide the passengers the best service possible. But the freight that railways carries, the freight customers also are a very major part of our customers, and we have tried to ensure that they are also provided services as conveniently as we provide to the passengers. So for example, increasingly a lot of freight is moving by rail point to point, and our larger customers we integrate tightly with our own freight management system, which we call the Freight Operations Information System. Now that is able to track the individual consignments as they move across the country, and the consignees and consigners, they are able to track their consignments through the net, through the internet, by simply accessing it over a web-based interface. All our freight invoicing and booking is now through the system, and about 70%, more than 70% of the invoicing, that is the railway receipts, the payments are through a payment gateway. So convenience to the freight customers, as well as much faster and simpler processing for the railways. Almost all the revenue that is collected by the railways now comes through applications that are developed by Chris, and that's quite a bit. We are actually a 25 billion e-commerce company, so to say. $15 billion, I'm talking about USD, $15 billion US are collected through e-commerce interfaces directly by us. So there is a lot that is going on in terms of e-enabling of the railways. Now we have been doing a lot for our customers, interfacing with our customers, but at the back of it, there are a lot of assets that Indian Railways manages. So our thrust now is to ensure that the management of the assets is now done through automated systems as far as possible. That has been for example, our railway track. The entire track management system is now a centralized application that allows railways managers to manage the track and its associated assets very well. And so on, we are increasing to our rolling stock assets, as well as we are moving to our signaling assets. So that is the next thrust for us.
Great, thanks. Sir, I would like to in fact ask what are the pain points so far on adoption of technology, because we are all of course talking about technology and its adoption. So what have been the pain points so far as the government sector is concerned, the railways government sector, and maybe I would like sir, you to respond on how technology pain points can be addressed by Microsoft, if at all.
Our main pain points, as far as if we see from the e-ticketing point of view, has been the management of very heavy users load at the Tatkal time, wherein we have already made the provisions handling the load up to 60 times of the average requirement. If our average permanent requirement is, let's say, 300 tickets per minute, so we have made the capacity of up to 18,000 tickets per minute, which can be made on the website. But still, on the festivals like Diwali, Holi, there will be load much more than that. And at times, it becomes difficult to handle that kind of problem. Then either website doesn't work or it works very slow. Now, I think that kind of challenges may be handled through cloud, but being online transactions and whatever they call OLTP, this is still a challenge in the cloud at the moment. That is maybe in the coming time, some solution comes in the cloud that may help.
Mr. Pablo, would you like to respond to that? If cloud could be used to facilitate a proper transaction during the Tatkal time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is one area which I would say where we can help Indian Railways the most. It is basically matching scale and speed with which Indian Railways is transforming. Just to give you the scale of those data centers which we have built in India, and that will solve some of those performance concerns. Now, each data center is almost 7 floor big, and each floor can house at least 13 Boeing 737 planes. That is the scale of the data center, right? So you decide how much you want, how much capacity you want, and the infrastructure will be available to you in a jiffy. So that kind of scale and agility with which you are transforming, we can match with that and we can run along with you. That is one. And second, which I want to probably point out is that there are lots of innovative ways by which we can serve customers. Of course, like IRCT's online platform is a very innovative way, but still a big number of tickets are still generated using face-to-face transaction. Now, there are newer technologies which have started coming, like virtual ticket agents. Instead of putting people on those railway counters, why not put just video, just PCs with cameras and videos? Your entire booking agents are sitting at a central place. They are trained. They are trained with a similar level of rigor, and you can do so much of capacity planning around those people. Let's say there is a station which has got higher rush at a particular time. You open more channels there. Let's say there is a station where there is no booking going on, or the booking happens between only 1 to 2 p.m. It is only during that time when an agent is assigned to that remotely. So there are lots of innovative ways by which technology can help, apart from the online transaction, in those transactions where people are also comfortable with, which is face-to-face kind of a transaction.
If I can say, put it lightly, that in case IRCTC would like to use cloud, then Microsoft is ready.
It's already available. We have data centers in 3 cities, Bombay, Pune, etc.
Great. Sir, any other technology pain points that you would like to highlight from the railway point of view, apart from the traffic that you're receiving? Of course, one of the biggest online e-commerce sites here.
No, technology pain points are not there. Technology is available in the market. It's only a matter of use. There are other pain points in the internet business or online business that you don't know your user face to face, and the identity of user is not there except their mail ID. Of course, we are capturing mobile numbers. They can't do ticketing without mobile numbers. But we need to do more. When we see sometimes touting activities going on, or some people trying to grab the tickets, we have to move ahead user registration on the basis of some IDs, like maybe Aadhaar, the passage of bill in the parliament. Maybe in the coming time we are thinking of integrating it with Aadhaar card.
So, how much identification issue do you face? Because you're making all the technology interfaces for RailTel, so for IRCTC and of course other interfaces. So, how do you see the privacy? Of course, privacy is one angle, but apart from that, the identification of an individual, because there would be a lot of cases where there could be accounts which are fake, maybe a mobile number is not matching to the face of the individual or the name. So do you face, or is your system equipped to handle, because it's a technology issue, if I can put it?
Yes, of course, it's a policy plus a technology issue both. Now, as you see, historically, if you see what the way you used to identify a person was, normally the transactions were done locally. And local transactions, the identification is simple. The person who's doing the transaction normally can identify the person in front of him. As Mr. Sunil Kumar just said, that the problem is that now these are increasingly remote transactions being taking place. The person at the counter doesn't have control over the transaction. And with the place where the transaction is occurring, there is no direct interface with the person. So that is where mechanisms like Aadhaar are really a boon in this situation. Without Aadhaar, before Aadhaar, it was a much bigger challenge than it is now with Aadhaar. So it is, as far as passengers are concerned, interfacing with the Aadhaar ecosystem automatically gives us a lot of comfort as far as the identity of the person is concerned. You can also check the identity of the person on the fly. For example, Aadhaar permits you, and the system has been designed in such a way, that on a train or on the move, you can identify a person simply by taking his biometrics and asking him to give you his Aadhaar number. So that can be validated against Aadhaar. So identification, of course, Aadhaar is a very powerful identifier. More than that, for internal applications, for security of the data, for security of transactions, you have to have a very strong authorization and authentication system. So what we are moving towards is a centralized authorization and AAA system, authorization and authentication. Now, that is required to make sure that our records, our data, our programs are kept securely within our data centers. And of course, Mr. Pabla has mentioned the cloud. Now, some of the issues that come up when you use a cloud are entirely these, the security issues, the authentication issues. Those have to be ironed out. Of course, one of the major things that was against the cloud so far was that there is a requirement that all government data should reside within the borders of the country. It is not just India, it is across the world. Most countries enforce this. So the cloud by its very definition is global. But now with their technologies, I think they are able to ensure that the data, Indian data remains within the boundaries of India, Sri Lankan data remains within the boundaries of Sri Lanka, and so on and so forth. So these combinations, yes, we are likely to see. Aadhaar, as I said, is a very potent enabler, I'd say, for authentication.
Great, thanks. Sir, I'll move on to Mr. Sanjay Kumar on RailTel network. How, because of course everyone talked about Aadhaar and maybe in future the privacy and the identity of individual could be well ascertained by Aadhaar. But so far, do you see, are there systems in place with the RailTel to kind of configure that this person's identity is similar to what his online identity is?
Actually, RailTel has not yet worked in this area. As of now, we are not even thinking to work in this area. Maybe because now Aadhaar bill has passed, so some vendors may come forward and then maybe we can do something in this area.
Great. Sir, a rural-urban divide. I think I'll put across this question to all the panelists. How do you see, because the majority of, because as far as a lot of reports that are out, only 10% of the internet users actually do e-commerce. So I'll throw the question to the rural-urban divide. How far do you see the rural people based out of a tier 2 or tier 3 cities are able to use online platform for e-commerce and use technology? Of course, the government is coming up with NOFN and connecting all the villages, but is it really actually happening in the rural areas?
I think mobile is a big solution. Internet penetration is not much, but mobile penetration is already there and is also increasing at a very fast rate. And mobiles are coming up with very advanced features. So you may not need internet, you may need other facilities of 3G and 2G, which will enable most of the people to use the present day technology for online transactions. And in fact, now more and more transactions are taking place on the mobiles. Even many companies are selling through the mobile apps rather than the website. They find it more convenient selling it through the mobiles rather than the website. And the another plus point with the mobiles is that you are able to identify the person, the user. So the security gets enhanced with the use of mobile as compared to the website.
So you're predicting m-commerce is the next revolution in India?
Definitely.
So how do you see the rural-urban divide in India? Because when I go to a rural area, I don't know if my mobile would be connected. Of course, I even see the divide in my house. If I move into my room, I actually don't get an internet connection. I have to walk out to do an m-commerce or even attend a phone call. So maybe more light on that, sir.
Actually, always there has to be a beginning, and a beginning has been made, initiated. Actually, NOFN is one project which will certainly though it's getting delayed due to challenges contextual to India, but it is certainly connecting rural area to the rest of the world, and we are sure that it will one day connect almost all the 2.5 lakh village panchayats. Railtel specifically is working in northeast area, which is considered the remotest part of country, one of the remotest part of the country. So, and though we faced challenges in that area initially due to various reasons, somewhere inaccessible, somewhere activities which are not helpful, or they are stopping this kind of work. But now, by the time gap, we have almost solved the problems, and connectivity is spreading. And we have almost connected one state, that is Tripura. We are working in other also. So NOFN will be a great enabler, and Government of India efforts will be, and their whatever schemes will be basically reaching to every corner of the state. And of course, when this NOFN helps reach connecting every village panchayat, this mobile connectivity will also eventually reach every village. So as Mr. Sunil Kumar has rightly said, that m-commerce is rising, and mobiles, very cheap mobile devices are available now. So this mobile internet commerce will certainly help and to bridge this rural-urban divide.
Thank you. I think this is more of a pro-government stand coming from both the government entities. I think move on to this part of the panelists. I think Microsoft and sir, you will be able to tell more on how do you really see, because you are on ground in action on this rural divide.
Okay. Of course, the points made by Mr. Sunil Kumar and Railtel are valid. One more thing that is there in the rural divide is, one is penetration of mobile networks in general. Second is the availability of phones. And generally in rural areas, still people don't have smartphones. And that is proving to be a major constraint for them to use mobile applications, because applications are by and large running on smartphones. Of course, technology is changing very fast, and smartphone usage is increasing very fast. So conceivably in the next few years, everybody will have a smartphone. People won't have feature phones, these button phones anymore. But while they are there's a lot of content that can be created using USSD or other such mechanisms, SMS. So that will allow rural folks to more easily access applications through their mobile phones. So that is one thing that is important. Increasingly, of course, as 3G and 4G penetrate through the country, and as they become more prevalent in rural areas, then that of course will increase the service level of these of the rural people. So the divide will remain, but the gap may reduce.
Mr. Pava, do you really see that divides, the actual E-divide would continue?
I think E-divide will continue, and it is our responsibility to bridge that divide. And it's a world of coexistence. You said 40, 50 years back, we said that video will kill radio, but today you have radios on internet. We said that digital libraries will kill retail libraries, and today you have Amazon opening up retail libraries. What they have started doing is that they have started utilizing the data which they captured to further fine-tune the retail library experience. So I think it is our job to give that kind of modern experience to rural folks. If a rural cannot book using mobile, and if they come to a traditional retail booking shop or a traditional counter, how beautifully we are servicing them. Are we utilizing the data which we capture using e-commerce to service them better? Maybe they need more channels there to book. So you have beautiful data which is available through e-commerce. You have technology which is sitting behind those retail counters. And the more we use that technology, that bridge, that divide will keep on reducing. And maybe someday when that technology becomes more advanced, they will also start using that. But till that time happens, I think we will have to do that job. We'll have to bridge that divide.
Great. I'll actually not make you guys wait for the lunch, but any couple of questions from the audience here. You can address yourself and address the speaker who you wish to ask the question from. I think we'll give it a pass. I think everyone is hungry. But of course, I think a brilliant session talking about how technology can definitely empower us and empower the rural where the technology so far is only available through mobile phones. So I think I'll thank all the panelists to present their views. Of course, it was more of a technology-driven and government-driven conversation here. Thank you very much to all. Thanks.